Happy Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of The Reality of Real Estate here on the new WTON, where we visit with Cynthia Hash from Find Homes Realty. Good morning, Cynthia. How are you doing this morning?
Morning, Joe. Doing great. And you?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has got to be the best time to show houses because it's not, a billion degrees and people are able to kind of, imagine themselves having a cup of coffee out in the backyard, right?
Well, that and the fact that, I really believe that what we're going to be experiencing is, we didn't have like the typical annual spring boom like we have in the past.
Mhm.
And so I think this usually starting into August is a slowdown. It's
Really?
just the opposite now,
And maybe
which
the
is
weather
interesting.
plays a role in that.
Well, I think what's happening is you have a whole lot of people that are just holding off, not wait, just trying, not wanting to buy
Mhm.
yet, and people still married to their 3% mortgages and stuff like that, and so so they don't want to sell, but now they're seeing that, hey, if you look back 20 years ago, 6.5% isn't really bad,
Mhm.
but what's bad is they're waiting for the correction, the market correction in regards to a seller not being able to just simply get anything they want for a
Right.
property, but settling down on the true market values and stuff like that, I think has been something that we've needed this correction.
Where
And
does the market have to go to do that? I know that they've been talking about days on market being really low. So inventory is still very challenged. Is that what's keeping the prices from being negotiable, is what you're saying?
yeah, so what we're seeing is a lot of shifting of
Mhm.
certain things. So during 2020 to 2024, what we're having is everybody would waive their home inspection in order to compete because
Mhm.
there was not enough inventory. Everybody would waive their appraisal, the rights to an appraisal, if the lender would let them. Uh, all of that's coming back. All of the inspections are coming back. The fact that the seller can just dig their heels in, a couple years ago saying, I don't want to do any kind of repairs at all.
Mhm.
I've got six other people that are sitting here waiting in line. So if you don't, to buy my house, so that kind of thing is changing, and I'm glad that it is because we do need that kind of correction. But I'm going to go over the economic comeback, no pain, no gain next week
Okay.
probably, and so this week what we're going to be doing is talking about crypto scams
Okay.
and how the real estate industry is kind of warning people about wire fraud, closing fraud, crypto scams, things like that, and also how some realtors, unfortunately, have been taken advantage of. And this,
Yeah.
if you think the deep state doesn't exist, then you've been uh, like an ostrich with your head in the ground, and because it does exist. And so this is, I will say that can actually flip the real estate industry on some sort of balancing act that we've never seen before.
So when you talk about crypto scams, are people being convinced that, they can make these transactions with cryptocurrency or that there's somehow
Mhm.
a crypto swap for a house?
Uh, yes and no.
Okay.
The crypto scams that realtors have been experiencing, unfortunately, is the fact that these scammers they show proof of funds. We always want proof of funds. That
Hmm.
can you buy this $1 million house? Can you that kind of thing? And we try to make sure that every buyer is qualified. And so when they send you a piece of paper or a text message or email or whatever that allows you to see that what their profits have been on uh, in crypto, and that they can just turn it right into cash anytime, then it's believable, and normally it's true that you can actually switch crypto into real money and buy whatever you want to buy. But here's the difference. This is where real estate. So we've been dealing with all kinds of stuff. Real estate agents, we have always had the risk of physical threats, like during showings,
Sure.
uh, during open houses. Some people have been raped, some people have been killed,
Oh
some
my
people,
gosh, that's horrible.
agents. Yes, exactly. So we've all had that risk. But one of the and this is Realtor Magazine reported this, that one of the most insidious dangers is actually entirely digital.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Is this
Mhm.
just, is this a new thing that's popping up with the now more prevalence of the digital currencies?
Yeah, so over the past year, two, maybe 2 years, it's been really happening a lot, and some agents have reported this to NAR so that we are aware of it. And so we try to report things to the MLS as to how a realtor could be in danger, and so our local MLS association, and then it gets escalated from there to VAR in Virginia to NAR, National Association of Realtors.
Hmm.
But according to the United States Secret Service, more than 60 real estate agents nationwide have lost a combined $15 million.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, in cryptocurrency scams. And what this is called is pig butchering. And
Is it
then,
because they do it by offering you a quick turnaround on
yes,
realizing? Oh wow.
yes, yeah, absolutely. So what they do is they target uh, uh, they don't target consumers
Hmm.
yet. That's coming. They don't,
Yeah.
but it goes after the agents themselves. And the reason they do that is because they can they can share this proof of funds. They basically basically this pig butchering it comes from the practice of scammers that are gaining trust.
Okay.
And then what happens is they gradually encourage their victims to invest more and more money by showing fake profits to make them feel nice and safe.
Well, that almost sounds like the traditional Ponzi scheme where they're saying, "Oh, look at my spreadsheet," and
Mhm,
it's really just kind of pumped up with other people being scammed. It isn't
mhm.
actually a profit.
Exactly. And you don't know it because it all looks so daggone real,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
And what's been and the reason why they call it pig butchering is because once you're quote unquote fattened up, okay,
Yeah,
and you're all in, then the scammers start disappearing with every all your money.
of course.
Yeah. And so in what realtor associations have been doing, they've been meeting in Washington, D.C., and they've been sending out warnings to real estate professionals
Hmm.
and basically saying that, we're susceptible to these kinds of scams because we're used to making deals happen and transactions. We're used to
Yeah,
transactions with large amounts of money, and we're and then these scammers understand this, that, hey, here's this scammer who proves that they have, you know, $20 million in the bank, and they want to buy a $10 million apartment building.
right.
Okay. And that makes it attractive to the real estate agent because that would be a good commission, would it not?
Oh yeah,
Right? Y-
sure.
Yeah. And so therefore, what this does, um, it basically convinces the realtor that they can make as much money as that scammer has, and
Oh
they don't
yeah.
even know they're scammers yet, but they think they're just customers,
Hmm.
you know. And so what they do is it's definitely like an innocent contact is what but it might be something it that's how they build rapport with
Hmm.
with you.
Hmm.
That's how they flaunt their fake financial savvy, and then it directs the victim to a fraudulent cryptocurrency platform.
Okay.
Okay, and all it is to aim to drain the victim's bank account, basically one transaction at a time. And you don't know it because you're pulling in, because when you start to buy things, and everybody's
Hmm.
probably bought by this time a little bit of Bitcoin, or, back when it first started, or a little bit of, you know, Ether or whatever. Okay, so somebody's got a little bit of those. I mean, your Venmo account
Oh, yeah.
allows you to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're in this digital currency, it's new, it's brand new, and it's exciting, right?
And there's no real yardstick for what it's supposed to look like. I mean,
Exactly.
you know what a financial statement from a bank looks like, and that kind of thing. But if you go to these sites and they look, you know, dazzling, and there's graphs and things moving around like crazy, and
Yeah.
usually it pulls, from what I'm told, in other crypto scams, it'll be pulling legit information
Hmm.
to make it look like, oh, well, this is the market right now, and this is where we are, and it's all,
Hmm.
but it's got just enough truthiness in it to make you walk away saying, oh, it looks legit to me.
Exactly, exactly. And so many victims have fallen for this, unfortunately. Uh, Basically, I'll give you a couple of examples. There was a real estate agent in Franklin, Tennessee.
Hmm.
Okay, she was contacted by a real estate by someone who wanted to uh, do real estate investing, purchase something, and they're claiming to be a stockbroker. And so they had a budget of $3 million, maybe 5 million, depending on the right listing. Okay. And so they they verified their crypto funds and then started sending listings to them online. Okay. And so he was this scammer was friendly and persistent, and 2 weeks into the conversation began discussing crypto investing. And so therefore the real estate agent was receptive.
Hmm. They've
And
already got
so
a rapport. Yeah.
he persuaded her to invest at that point. And so she opened up a cryptocurrency wallet app, okay,
Hmm.
and started following the instructions and all that kind of stuff. And even though she might have had some suspicions at the time, she only started with $1,000, and then went into, within about 2 months, it added 10,000 because
Well,
she was realizing gains
she thought she was.
that she thought was legitimate, but it
Mhm.
wasn't.
Man, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So what is it? Are there red flags, or is it such a new thing we don't even have like a grasp on what red flags people should be watching out for?
Yeah, so the big red flags are if they want to communicate with you through like the WhatsApp app, or other apps that are like, I forget, a couple of other ones that
Signal and some of these encrypted ones.
yes, so these particular apps that are online, they're everywhere. And so if they want to communicate through that, and then don't trust it. Okay, just don't trust it. Then the other red flag is, hey, can we get on a Google Meet or a Zoom call
Okay.
and see if we can't have a conversation? And if they keep pushing you off and saying, no, let's just communicate, I'll communicate through other methods, then no, don't, try not to do that. And so, but what happens is, what you'll find is that these people are so good at what they do, so good at this con,
Yeah.
at what they do. And you and there is such a thing as like crypto DeFi wallet or
Hmm.
whatever, and all these things. there is such a thing. So what they've done is they've mirror imaged it
I see.
and they've reproduced it so that it looks like it's your account.
Mm.
And they show you, and they'll even, help you with, how to navigate the systems. And you're thinking they're helping you,
Yeah,
you know. and
they're
and
helping themselves.
unfortunately that's what they're doing. They're helping themselves to your bank account. And so there's also other places that you can go to figure this out. If they're if they're not allowing you to see them, here's what's coming. Here's what is now also coming is that with AI, you can actually it actually makes it look like they're real, even on Google Meet or Zoom. It makes it look like they're real.
Now, are these
And
apps hard to trace? Is that why, they do them so there's not a cell phone record of somebody or a
yeah,
cell tower ping that can be used?
yep, yep, yep. That's exactly why. That's exactly what they do. And these things are, WhatsApp is really one of them. And there's another one that starts with a T, I think, or it's not Trust Social, but it's something else.
I can
And
barely use my cell phone as a cell phone, so I'm
I know, right?
no expert at it. But I
Yeah.
guess that's the kind of thing that you could fall prey to is all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're, there. I had somebody call me and say they were from a payroll a payment processing company, and one of my
Hmm.
clients wanted to pay through their system, and they needed my banking information, and I'm like, we're a pretty small business. I know all my clients, and they send me checks. Oh, no, 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 no. One of your clients. And I said, well, tell me which client it is.
Yeah,
Oh, we can't do that, sir. It's confidential. I said, okay, well, then you tell them to call me because if they're my client, they know my phone number.
that's right.
And they
Yeah.
went away. But as soon as they started talking about banking information, the antennas went up, and I got concerned. Not that
Yeah.
we have a ton of money. I mean, getting into a realtor's bank account could probably be pretty dangerous. Now, does this the scamming of the realtors, does it, I can imagine if there's transactions going on with home sales and things like that, could they get into a transaction that a realtor
Hmm.
was doing with let's say, a listener, if they got caught up in this?
Yeah, it's quite possible. And this is even further scary, and that is that with the with the big beautiful bill, I guess you would call it,
Mhm.
they're also starting to, is this good or bad? I don't know yet, but it's allowing for people to do real estate transactions and use crypto to buy real estate. And so what's really interesting is it's because it's not regulated yet, because we don't know any of this stuff, because this is all new, and quite frankly, we in the last administration they were trying to deregulate all of this as
Right.
but this is going to be regulating it. And so is it good? Is it bad? I don't know yet, but
Well, I have to
it's
think
coming.
setting up some sort of banking protocols would protect people from that so that
Yeah.
you would have some way of verifying, is this legit? Is this,
Hmm.
like if somebody calls and says, and it happened to me and my wife, we invested in a Main Street fund, completely legitimate Main Street fund,
Hmm.
everything looked legit.
Yep.
I went off, took my father-in-law's money, took a lot of people's money. But it all, I mean, we got the papers, and
Yep.
we would look at it and would say the Main Street. And if you went into the Wall Street Journal, you could look up the Main Street A fund, and there it was, and it was matching everything, and it was
Yep.
all phony
Hmm.
baloney. And
Hmm.
so, there's got to be some way. Now, is there recourse? I mean, I guess you have to catch the guy first.
Well, you kind of do. So what you would do is you would end up having to report it to the Secret Service. One way that you can go, well, into the FBI, things like that. So you would end up reporting it in to ICR.org. And that ICR.org is where you can uh, help to uh, let's just say this, screenshot absolutely everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If you do fall for this and you're starting to suspect, and maybe you've only lost $1,000, maybe you've lost $10,000, maybe you've lost 1 million. I don't
Right.
know. But either way, if you go to ICR.org, let's see, hold on. It's not ICR.org. Sorry, that's the creation. That's sorry, my bad.
Right.
Let me pull this up. Hold on a second.
But it's you, and by the way, when Cynthia says Secret Service, because Secret Service is a division of the Treasury Department,
Yep,
they're Treasury police basically, and
yep.
so this is who would be looking into this is Treasury, because it's bank fraud basically.
It is. Yeah, it is. And so what you would want to do is make sure that when you're reporting it, you are being able to um, give enough information to, well, there's a big form, I think, that you have to fill out.
Right.
There's,
Always
all
is.
kinds of stuff. Yeah, always will be. And it's I'm trying to find what that is, and I have it in my on my website, so I think
Oh,
I'll
well,
share
then
it
just
with
go to
you.
Cynthia's website and you'll see the
Yeah, go to
information about it.
findhomesusa.com. Let's see. And it will be if you have anything. We do give you a heads up on something that will cover you on this. So hold on one
Okay.
second.
But I get,
I'm gonna,
it still comes back to the classic. While you look, I mean, it's still the classic. If it
yeah.
sounds too good to be true, it is. And
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it kind of does do that. And typically what we also do is we have on our forms for like when you're e-signing things and wire
Mhm.
transfer things and so forth. Those things are also available, and we have a a uh, basically a disclosure thing that you can sign, and it gives you the place where you can uh, report something like this. So the
Okay.
wire fraud situation, let me give that to you. There's also cybersecurity notices that you have to, that we try to help you with. Uh, the wire fraud basically is trying to, we can't be held responsible for something that might happen like this, like whether it's
Mhm.
an wire transfer or an ACH or any other matter
Hacking
of
into your account, like,
hacking.
yeah.
Basically, yeah. So the criminals are getting better and better and better at this, and AI is helping them get better at
Of course
this.
it is. Of course it is. And pretty soon you're going
Yeah.
to be scammed by somebody who isn't even there, doesn't speak the
Yeah,
language, just
unfortunately.
some AI avatar,
That's right.
on you.
That's right. And it's unfortunate because what what we will see is the fact that you're sending these things,
Hmm.
and when you're sending the money to these things, you think it's actually legit. Sorry, it's ic3.gov. Sorry, I meant to, I finally found it.
Okay, I see
Yeah,
three.
ic3.gov. And so when you're doing something like this, you have to report it so that they are not get able to keep doing it and and quite frankly, I think that they'll probably just drop you after a while. They'll still have your $10,000 or whatever you put in, but they'll end up dropping you after a while. And so, all of a sudden they're no longer nice.
Right. Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
what are you bothering me for? If they answer at all. I mean,
they're
I,
not going to answer. They'll
yeah.
disappear. They literally disappear. But these kinds of cryptocurrencies and so forth is really it's really volatile. It's very volatile.
Right.
So what if you go to ICR, uh, God darn it, I keep saying ICR,
IC3.
ic3.gov.
Wrote it
Okay,
down.
ic3.gov. Don't forget, write it down. Where that takes you is to the Internet Crime Complaint Center. So
Okay.
IC3, that's what it stands for. And then the three C's, Internet Crime Complaint Center. So ic3.gov. And so they're saying, and they warn you, scammers are impersonating even the IC3 now.
Wow.
Yes, they
That's
are.
so
It's bad. And
you could go somewhere and think you've gone there. Like if you went to ic3.com and it looks like ic3.gov, and all of a sudden they know what you're doing and what you're saying, and they can tailor their scam to meet you.
yes, they can. Yes, they absolutely can. The other thing is these, believe it or not, okay, here we go. Realty Times reported recently that Beeline Title, they're not around here, but Beeline Title is among the first to actually close a crypto real estate transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
there's
my complaint against crypto always was I can't buy groceries with it. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's the new thing, new thing." Well, now you can buy groceries with it.
yes, you can.
Apparently, you're saying we can buy houses with it. So,
Now you can. Yes, you can. So, and mortgage lenders, they're already developing like funding models that involve the conversation, the conversion, the all this conversion stuff of cryptocurrencies to
mhm.
US dollars at closing. That's what's happening.
But
And,
and then like the scammer comes in and says, "I can get this done so much faster. You'll have the money in an hour," and
mhm.
give them your information, and you don't get any money.
Yeah, exactly. And then so with Beeline Holdings, they say these models function basically at scale. So you do need a title company that not only understands blockchain
Mhm, mhm,
transactions, but also has the infrastructure to disperse and reconcile them in
mhm,
a compliance. Everything's federally regulated, state regulated. Okay, when it comes to title and transferring your title and so forth. But but these crypto scammers uh, are are so good at what they do, and they can help you. They what they do is they get you emotionally involved,
yeah,
and and because you're thinking, oh wow, you know, I'm a realtor. I have no employer who is matching my Social Security. um, I,
yeah.
I don't I have no employer that um, is, is providing me with a retirement plan. I have, this would be a great retirement plan,
Yeah.
right?
And
And,
then it's gone.
and then all of a sudden, even what you've saved up until then is all gone. But this is this is scary, scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I just want to make sure you know about is, of course, going to ic3.gov before anything
Mhm.
has happened to you is going to do you nothing. It's going to do you nothing because you can't file a complaint unless somebody has actually performed a crime against you.
Is there a database of commonality? Sometimes we'll get a story from the police department saying, "Oh, somebody's pretending to be Sergeant so and so," and they get a database of that. I mean, is there some sort of knowledge base of these kind of scammers?
I think not only could you file a complaint on ic3.gov, but there is a lot of public information on there. So there's, resources, brochures, reports, and so forth, and also industry, type of information, cybercrime. There's an entire cyber crime section that
Mhm.
is for just the private sector
Wow.
engagement. And so you can contact an FBI who special agent who specializes in this type of thing.
Yeah, you
And
need that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so this is really something so I'd love
Wow.
for you to go on and take a look at IC 3.gov. Finally got it right. And I know. Anyway, and be able to educate yourself on this so that your business, your industry, your clients, you are protected as even a realtor as well. And you can file a fraud or scam complaint. But
Okay.
again, it's kind of like, it has to already have happened, and do it as quickly as possible, because there's one example that was in the Realtor Magazine that was talking about how this agent invested 200 grand, and and then they uh, encouraged them to borrow 250 from the platform,
Wow.
and then she did. And so actually, and they required like a 10% security deposit to release what she believed was her $2.1 million frozen in the blockchain.
Gee, well, I'm glad she was able to get something, Cynthia. I
Yeah,
want to say thank you because knowledge is good, but boy, this is a disquieting story of just yet
yeah,
again people finding a way to get at it. And thank you for bringing it to us this morning on the
sure.
reality of real estate.
Yes, indeed.